Her name's Ashton Cynthia Clarke.
So I get a whole extra minute before you start the timer, right?
No rules. You got what you want.
Oh my gosh, it's holiday season. And I just used to be one of those people who can't wait for the holidays. Until 1985, fourth Thursday in November. I had waited and planned for this day. I mean, I was counting down 2 more months, 2 more weeks, just 2 more days. And the anxiety was building. You see, I was of the mind that I had to make my husband look good this Thanksgiving. His mom was coming in from the wilds of Fort Worth, Texas. And my prim and proper mother was coming from New York. And then there was my brother-in-law. He lived in Los Angeles too, but we hardly ever saw him. He never came to visit before this day. In fact, the last I'd heard, he'd spent a night in jail for stupidly smoking a joint in front of his neighborhood fire station. But I was going to do this. I was going to tackle it. I had never been a holiday host before. I'd always been a holiday guest. So this was going to be my first time facing a dead gobbler where I'd have to pull out the guts, thaw it, and actually get it into the oven. But I was going to tackle this because I was going to make my husband look good. So I was on top of everything. The day before, all the side dishes were made. And I watched my turkey thaw like I was a scientist studying global warming in the Arctic. Thursday morning, and I mean early, that turkey was in the oven. And then I even had some chicken, all seasoned and prepared just in case, ready to throw on the barbecue. My mom, she had promised to make her special Spanish rice with onions and peppers and tomatoes. But then when I pulled my bag of rice down from the cupboard, I noticed that her frown line seemed deeper than usual. I was almost afraid to ask, is something wrong? Oh, no, nothing. But I knew. This was everyday slow cooking rice. It was not Uncle Ben's, the one that's guaranteed to come out perfect every time. And I knew my mother never cooked with anything but Uncle Ben's, but I was running out of time, but I offered, maybe I can just run to the store and get you a box of Uncle Ben's. Oh, no. I can cook rice, any kind of rice. Okay, fine. I left it alone. So now the guys are in the living room and they're playing dominoes. So we ladies decide to go outside and enjoy the day on the patio off the kitchen. Or rather, they enjoyed the day. I was too busy as usual, running around trying to anticipate what everybody else needed, staring with horror at this dark smudge on one of the chairs that I hadn't wiped off, and the one stray leaf on the ground that I had neglected to sweep up. But I just tell myself, 6 hours, just get through the next 6 hours and you'll be fine. Just when I had convinced myself that I was not going to get that Windex and wipe that black smirk off that chair, we heard this crash coming out of the kitchen. And there were scuffling noises and angry men's voices, so we run back inside, and there, in the middle of my cramped kitchen, was my husband and his brother squared off and coming to blows. Now, they were flailing like schoolgirls. I mean, this was not exactly the Thriller in Manila, but the 4-letter words were flying in my ears. It was disgusting. Mother-in-law was the first one to say something. Y'all stop it right now. I glanced over at my mom, and she was just slack-jawed and looking scared. And then brother-in-law sticks his hand into the bowl of raw chicken, grabs up a chicken leg, and smacks my husband in the face with it. What are you doing? Finally, I'm screaming. My husband's face was streaked with onion salt, paprika, and there was this yellow blob of chicken fat hanging from his mustache. And then he sticks his hand in the bowl, pulls up another piece of clammy, wet Zaki Farms and flings it at his brother. So now everyone is either screaming or ducking or trying to calm things down. The chicken parts are skittering across the floor. And I knew who to blame. It was my no good wastrel of a brother-in-law. Get out! I stared straight at him. Get the fuck out of my house! He started to say something, but I cut him off. No, I'm out of here. And I left. I left the entire harried horror show of a holiday right there. I took a walk, a long walk. First, up about 3 blocks on my street. And it was a beautiful, beautiful Thursday. I mean, the sun was still up and it was glinting off the windshields and off apartment door windows, just like it does every day. So I went up to Wilshire Boulevard, went west on Wilshire, and hiked it over to the La Brea Tar Pits. And I'm standing behind the fence and I'm trying to count the bubbles that are coming up out of this black tar. And the fake mastodon that's stuck there in the mug seemed really funny to me for a minute, until I thought, is that like me? I mean, for my entire adult life, I had spent everything just on hold, waiting until I graduated, waiting until the next love, waiting until the next 20 pounds lost, never actually enjoying the moment. And I knew why. It was because I never felt good enough. I never felt I was enough. I always thought that if I can just get to that next step, somehow things will be better over there, because somehow I would be better. And I could keep that madness up, or I could try to do something different. So the sun was setting and I headed back towards home, and my husband met me at the door and, oh, please forgive me, he kissed into my ear, and even brother-in-law had something to say. I'm sorry I disrespected your house. The family had gotten everything back together, and my mom took my arm and she whispered, I don't know why, but only the left side of the turkey is cooked. And of course my backup chicken had gone down for the count. But it was okay. I mean, we carved up the left side of that bird and we shoved the rest back in the oven. And at table, I tried to tell everybody about all of the new sights and sounds and smells that I'd seen that weren't new, but that I had just always passed by before. And I'd like to say that everything was great after that Thanksgiving, but of course not. I backslide, and there are some days when the sense of inadequacy is so dark and so heavy that I find myself going right back into, just get to 5 o'clock, just get to the weekend, just get to the next holiday. But at least now I know why, and I try to confront it head on. And you know that everyday rice, it didn't come out perfect, but it was so delicious.